Welcome to a quick overview of day 4 and 5 of the loring installation behind me. Day 4 and 5 generally are more about training days and commissioning the roaster than it is actual installation. There were a couple of things that our installer did, that's Malcolm Qualleri in the UK. So I'll just briefly describe what happened there and then talk through the sort of startup process and the sorts of things that we did in order to commission and then train on the machine. Now, training isn't how to roast, it's more operator training, so what to do, what buttons to press, those sorts of scenarios, and then also a bit of maintenance and cleaning and stuff like that. So of which I'll actually do a longer, more in-depth video in due course, more of a sort of an instructional video as to how to operate a machine of this sort. Anyway, let's have a quick walkthrough about what we did on day 4 and 5 and take it from there. Day 4 was mainly about making sure that all of the bits and bobs that were done on days 1, 2 and 3 were done correctly and finished off. So number one, Malcolm installed this bracket against the wall here. This is the cold stack and something that he needed to do just to finish off, just to brace that, similar to the bracing that's right up on the top of the roof there. What we also then did is a bit of tidying up on the cabling, making sure that the machine itself was all shiny and new. So he used a spray can on all of the pipes. It's pretty much like a baby oil, but an aerosol version that you can pick up at a local hardware store, so B&Q in the UK. I've yet to get some, and I must say that I'm not particularly looking forward to keeping this machine clean. It's very different to the Probat, where there's a lot of black surfaces that sort of hide the dust, and dust is something that you get an awful lot of within a roastery. Mainly because each time you load green into a cart, or in the Probat's case, when you load green into the hopper there, you get green dust that sort of floats up. The fans in the Probat, and similarly the fans in the loring, will create quite a lot of airflow around that area and create, with all the heat that emits from the roasters, this sort of vortex of dust that goes up. And actually, one of the jobs that I've just completed was we needed a 7-day hire on this scissor lift, which is actually going back today, to be fair. The scissor lift was required by Malcolm to get alongside the roaster up to roof level, but the beauty with one of these, which I was not aware of, because I'm a layperson when it comes to building equipment, but it has a boom that was able to extend across and over the top of the roaster, which was really great, because then you can actually get to the flues over the top of the machine without actually having a stretch, which was a good thing, because you can do better work when you're not having to coerce yourself into weird positions. Anyway, so a job that I've done with this over the past few hours was getting up to roof level and cleaning all the rafters. You get cobwebs, spider webs, which of course dust will adhere to, and it's a bit unsightly, and B, just good to have a deep clean. So all of the external surfaces of the walls above sort of like reach height, head height, have been cleaned, and the whole internal part of the roof is now cleaned as well. Anyway, I digress. So day 4, morning of, was tidying everything up here, making sure that the roaster was in a good position, ready to go for commissioning. Commissioning then was a matter of running through a few batches of coffee, various different batch sizes, just to get some heat through to the machine, because inside of this hot stack there was basically a pipe that needed to expand and contract, so that the flue was in a proper sort of worked position and tested. Also, there's some sort of chemicals and materials on site on the equipment that need to get burnt off before you get into a proper production environment. So day 4 was commissioning, running through some heat cycles, fine-tuning the burner. There was inside of the panel, which I'll show you at a later point, a gas and air mix that was adjusted so that our stack temperatures were set correctly, i.e. it would get close to but not exceed alarm systems. And then day 5 was a day of basically roasting. Day 5 was, I think I did about 8 or 10 batches on the machine, so making sure our computers are hooked up with the machine, everything was working, running through some batches, figuring out what happens between batches, and handing from batch to batch to batch, which is going to be the most difficult thing about transitioning over onto this equipment. And then Malcolm took some final readings from the stack, and we signed off. Now it is over to me to learn how to roast on a Loring versus the Probat. That would all come in a separate video, and one that I'm going to start walking through the ideas that I have in the first roasts that will begin to cup and analyze, etc. Anyway, it's all good. We're in, ready to go. Cheers.